like the middle of a book, you know what I mean? So you haven't read it. I wrote this novel, it's called Welfare, and it's about this like 17-year-old on welfare who feels like really geographically trapped for a lot of reasons. And in this chapter, he just, he used to live in like the county, so he had to like hitchhike to go get his welfare check and shit. But now he can actually, he's in the same city. So I'm just going to read it because that's enough. I finally get the call, a monotone voice informing me of a meeting with my caseworker. In place of a goodbye, I'm informed that if I miss the appointment, I'd better have a good excuse, or a job lined up. The city's bus system leaves something to be desired. There's only 2 routes, and neither of them is a straight shot to the downtown terminal. Instead, they twist and turn through the barren areas, around the outskirts of neighborhoods. I'd be on it all morning, and there'd go the rest of the change I have jangling around in my pocket. I pull it out, and I don't even think there's enough to get on the bus. So my decision is made. I have to walk. Which is better than when I had to hitchhike, I tell myself. As I stand in the morning sun, it's early, and the air is thick, and I know it's going to get sticky, and that the walk is going to probably take me as long as the bus, or at least feel like it, because there's nothing to look at, just long roads of houses that all look pretty similar, that I've already seen 100 times before, and the boredom of life creeps in on me. Because I want to see something happening. I'm sick of this sleepy little town shit. I want crowded streets and beautiful women. I want restaurants with flashing lights. I want options, not just the inevitability of what will come to pass. But it doesn't take long before I forget about boredom. The humidity starts to cause problems. I'm sweating through all my clothes. I'm out of shape. I've been subsisting off bowls of white rice for too long. I'm a fat piece of shit. I look down past my shaking heavy gut to where my thighs are rubbing together. They burn. Without being able to look, I imagine a cigarette pack-sized red rash on either leg, just below my balls. I curse the sky above me. I keep my morale up for a couple of blocks, telling myself that I can't turn around, that I have to get to this meeting. I can't afford to have my money stopped off, because I'm sure if I tell them that I had a rash, it's not going to cut it as far as excuses go. But as the burning gets worse, I have a harder time believing I'm going to make it. I'm thirsty as hell. I wish I brought a bottle of water, or if there's a corner store anywhere near close to here, then I could go into their air conditioning for a minute, some goddamn reprieve from it all. Instead, I give up on the edge of someone's lawn, sit in the shade of a tall bush, spread my legs out as far as they'll go, wave my hands above the problem area, try and create a breeze, but the burning continues. I try and think of something, anything I can tell the welfare people, because I'm not even halfway there yet. But any excuse I can conjure up, I need corroboration, someone of authority to back me up. And that's when I realize I have no options. Story of my life, I say while standing up. I wipe the back of my arm along my forehead, sigh, wish that something could just step in and take my life away, spare me this trial, but I've never been full of luck. I walk bow-legged, do my level best to keep my thighs from touching, but it's tough. I've put on more weight than I thought. They still gently rub against one another, and every time they do, I wince. I tell myself not to cry. A car drives past, honks, another one slows down to call me text and asks if the rodeo is in town. I don't have the energy to tell him to go fuck himself while he laughs, because I'm losing my will to live. And this walk is taking forever, and the sun just won't give up. And I have to make this appointment, and all I want to do is lie down, maybe on the strip of grass between the sidewalk and the gutter. It seems like the best place to give in. Another truck drives up. Ladders and buckets and tools fill the back of it. 2 men sit inside. They're tan. One of them hangs a dust-covered forearm out the window. It looks like it's made of steel, and I think about my own pudgy body. They slow right down, drive alongside me. They must be on a coffee break or something. And this is what they do to relax. The driver leans over, yells across the bench seat and out the window. "Hey, fat ass, you shit your pants or something? You're walking pretty funny." They laugh at me. I look at the ground. The only thing I can do to better my situation is to keep my legs apart. And anyways, there's 2 of them. "Look how sad he is," the passenger points his tan hand at me. "If I were that fat and shit my pants, I'd be weepy too," the boss adds. More laughter, more humiliation. There has to be something better for these fuckers to be doing. I pray for another car to veer off, hit their truck head on, obliterate the 2 of these asswipes. Instead, they continue to drive beside me, yelling out profanities. They call me chubs, shit pants. They laugh a little more, throw an empty coffee cup at me. They tear off down the street, and I wonder what I did to deserve this. But at least that's the end of it. When I get to City Hall, my crotch is a nightmare. The first thing I do is go inside, make my way to the basement. The welfare office is down there. My appointment is soon. But first I need to get to the bottom of what's happening in my pants. It's cool in here, and I instantly feel better. Have the energy to tell myself that things aren't going to be that bad, but each step causes me to wince. Even with my legs as far apart as I can get them. In the bathroom, I go into the first empty stall, pull down my pants, my inner thighs are red, scaly. When I touch the left one with my finger, I can't help but hollering in pain. My pants have been soaking up most of the sweat, and now with them off, it pours down my thighs, burning my friction burns. I unravel a wad of toilet paper, start trying to pat myself dry, but it only sticks to my legs, makes things worse. I want to give up. I want to lie down and go to sleep. Maybe I can wake up and my life will be completely different. But I know I can't. That the only life I'd wake up to is getting yelled at by a janitor, or security guard, or a cop. So I pull my pants up, I leave them undone, I open the stall door, I'm the only one in here. At the sink, I pull them back down, run cold water, and gently rub it into my legs. At first, the pain of it makes me pull back. But once I get past the initial shock, I feel my whole body relax under the relief. Standing there like this, hunched over, massaging my inner thigh, a man comes in whistling. One with a haircut, a nice suit, a full stomach, and a college degree. When he looks at me, he ceases his walking and his whistling. We make eye contact, and I'm certain the emotion I read from his is confused disgust. So I look down at the floor, lowering my entire head. When I hear him walking to the stall, I imagine him shaking his in wonder. I pull my pants up, rub a little cold water into my eyes, walk out into the basement of the city hall. It's open like a square. The permit and welfare offices look out onto it. It's small, so it seems busy, mainly dusty, paint-covered men coming and going from the permit office, the odd employee from the higher levels coming down for a piss. And of course, bums like me, dirty in clothing, people in dirty clothing here to collect a check. And I feel the eyes of them all on me, judging me, knowing that I'm not one of them, here for a permit, but I'm a loser. Some of their taxes pay for it, and in most of their minds it gives them the right to not hide their hate. So I stand there, feeling like an outsider, the same way I did when I lived at home. How that if I just fucked off and disappeared, then everyone's life could be better. But this is life, I tell myself, and there's nowhere to fuck off to, except death, and I don't have the balls for a move like that. The worst part about it is the town's so small, there'll be moments of desperation. I'm going to end up applying for jobs from these men, and I'll have to hope they think they see me in one of the bars, instead of in this air-conditioned basement, looking for a handout. I walk over to the water fountain, lean over and drink. This is some of the best water I've ever tasted, I tell myself. It's ice cold, hurts my teeth. It's nothing like the water at home. I can run the tap forever there, and it's always lukewarm. It tastes like metal, blood. And as I'm telling myself to remember to bring a container next time, I have to come down here. I hear someone laughing. It's a laugh that I recognize, but I don't have a clue from where. So I stop drinking, wipe cold water from my lips, turn around, and there they are, by the doors to go outside, the guys from the pickup truck. Fuck, I think. I don't need this again. That cold water had almost pushed all the bad thoughts down. To somewhere I leave them and forget about them until the next time I scrape together the money to get drunk. So I lower my head, make slow movements, try and take up as little space as possible. Will myself to blend into the cinder block walls painted gray like some chameleon. Anything to keep them from noticing me slinking into the welfare office. I make it to the door, get my hand around the heavy brass handle, give it a pull, but it's heavier than I remembered, and I have to give it another try. But just as I do, I hear them. And if they'd noticed me walking through here, it would have been better, just passing through, using the facilities. But now they know what I am. Hey, bud, check who it is, the kid who shit his pants, the guy I remember as the driver says in a voice loud enough for everyone to hear. And except for a synchronized head turn in my direction, all movement stops. Christ, Dougie, he shit his pants and he's going to the welfare office. Daddy works there. And now it's not only the two of them laughing, but other contractors join in. Others look at me the way you look at something pathetic, like a skinny dog short on time. Sorry. It's thirsty business. You should have asked, fatty. We could have given you a ride, the driver says, more laughter. Hell no, he's too fat. Over the limit. Not to mention his shitty pants, Dougie replies. He's not walking so bad now, maybe he changes his diapers. These fucking pricks. They think they're so much better than me. Them with their fancy job, their money, their homes, their families. That's not good enough for them. They have to run me down as well. And there's nothing I can do but give the door a good heave. It opens this time. I'm fueled by the laughter, I guess. But when the heavy door shuts behind me, it blocks out the teasing, and I hope that it doesn't follow me in. I know I'm supposed to check in, tell that I'm here, but I need a minute, so I sit down in one of the 6 chairs in the room. I put my head in my hands, breathe deeply, think about my friends, sitting in class, money in their pockets for lunch, a very small chance of them being harassed by grown men. When I'm ready, I stand up, walk over to the chest-high counter, the 3 inches of plexiglass. I'm pretty sure that the woman sitting on the other side hasn't noticed me yet. She talks into a headset, looks at her nails, eats a potato chip. basically anything she can do to ignore me. I listen to her conversation, but her words come through the plexiglass like underwater voices, and the only thing I can make out with distinction is her braying horse laugh, which makes me nauseously shudder. I have to close my eyes as a means to survive each outbreak. The plexiglass has a yellow tinge to it, a dreamlike lens over the situation, and maybe that's what keeps me from more drastic measures of garnering her attention, like banging my fist against the space directly in front of her goddamn face. That and a handwritten sign taped to the inside, the one that says anyone who even touches the glass will have their claim immediately terminated. So I just stand there, waiting, thinking of the good old days, wondering how many clerks had been threatened with weapons, or knew the feeling of angry hands around their throats before the scenario had been implemented. She puts down the phone, picks up another chip and eats it, looks at me like it's the first time she's seen me, like she honestly didn't notice until the second. And I start to fear about the human capacity for feigned ignorance. "Can I help you?" she says, and leaning over her side of the counter, speaking to the circle of holes in the slot used for receiving checks and submitting proof of identification. I bend over to tell my reason, give her my name, pull my student card from my wallet in anticipation of the steps. Once she believes I am who I am, she tells me to wait, that my caseworker is very busy. I sit down in the tiny waiting room. The clock says I'm right on time. I wonder what in the hell this old cunt is doing. Why do I have to wait? I amuse myself by looking at the posters on the wall. They all have a thematic meaning, one that's easy to grasp. That committing welfare fraud is an instant termination of your claim, punishable by law. And if you know of anyone involved in this disgusting offense, they offer up numbers to call, a vague implication of being rewarded. And I lean back, count the people I know in welfare, and the ways in which they're all guilty, working under-the-table jobs, selling drugs, tattooing. I think about the reward implied. I try and commit the 1-800 number to memory, just in case my situation gets dire. But I also wonder what's wrong with me. Why am I not doing something on the side? Anything for a couple of extra bucks a month. And I know the reasons. I'm too scared. I think there's welfare agents everywhere, watching me, making sure I'm not generating an income of any kind. Oh man, I think I fucked up the order here, but I don't know. Let's just end it there, dude. All right, thanks a lot for listening.